Hey guys, thank you again for joining us for another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So yesterday we are talking about fastings, and it's a two-part reflection. Today we're doing part two too. So concluding this book, and I think I mean, fasting to me is one of those things where it's counterintuitive to what people think, but
It is.
it's something that I think it would be useful for people to kind of pick up a nugget and kind of chew on it for a while, and I think eventually it makes sense.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Um it's interesting. So this as we talked about yesterday, the book is called The Complete Guide to Fasting, and it's about healing your body through intermittent all day and extended fasting, and it was spurred on by you and your fasting journey, and me liking challenge myself is one of my core values that Amelia and I try to do every day. So we do our monthly challenges, and you piqued my interest enough to make this a part of our monthly challenge. We've done it twice now, actually. And This is the first time that we did it back in October of 2022. So of course I wasn't just going to dive into this. This is a learning adventure. So I read the book and learned a lot about fasting. Well, the first reflection we did yesterday, obviously was about, kind of about you, like don't do it alone, and all that other good stuff, right? This one is more about the idea behind fasting, is if you stay hungry, you'll produce your best work. And what I mean by that in particular is something that I learned in this that I had no idea, and I was kind of blown away by it. Actually, this is what this journey is all about. Like I really learned something really interesting from this book that kind of opened my eyes to something. So uh, over the past 3.5 years or whatever, since Amelia has passed away, and this journey, I write every morning, right? Like every morning, like that's a time that Amelia and I have carved out and we've set aside, and we write every morning. The entire first book that I wrote was all written between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. for the majority of the time. This journey, the Year of Magical Learning reflections, they were all written same time. I think maybe every once in a while, maybe a handful of times they were written at a different time of the day. Out of the 365, they were done. Maybe it's just like some random weird, occurrence that happened on that day, but I ended up writing it at night. I can't remember. I can't think of a single time off the top of my head where I was like, I know that I wrote this reflection at this time of night, which makes me even wonder if I did any of them at night. So because I feel like I would have remembered that. But my point is like I wrote all this stuff, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. And I didn't, for some weird reason, writing in the morning has always felt for me like my mind is fresh. The ideas just kind of spontaneously come to me. Everything is very clear. And it's like I kind of almost go into a trance, like, once I start writing away, and like out pops 1,000 words or something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, and then I move on with my day. It's really weird. It's very, very energizing. I really like it. My mind just feels very focused and clear, and I'm able to do my best work, right? Well, I've tried to write, not necessarily for like, the books or anything or this journey, at different times of the day, and I know how that feels like, and it's not how I feel in the morning. I could never really quite figure it out. I just, why, but I knew how I felt. So like if I write in the middle of the day when like all the shit is going on after I ate lunch and breakfast or something like that, and work, and there's 500 Slack messages going on, my brain is just so
It's bogged down. I mean,
yeah, it's bogged down. There's just too much going on. Like, I mean, honestly, there's just so many things that are being thrown at me, and I'm like, I just can't find the focus, right? And I can try. I've tried. Don't get me wrong, but like, I feel like I get distracted very in the middle of the day. Like, just the distractions are just at its peak, and I cannot. My body is not at its peak anymore. Like, my mind isn't. The distractions are at their peak. And it's really hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's like you can use willpower and you can gut through it. But I know when I look back at the work that I did, I'm like, that wasn't my best work, but I tried, and that's okay, right? And then at night, whenever I've tried to write at night, like after work or like late at night, oh my God, that's just that's a shit show. Like I'm like, I can't, the energy is just gone. I have just no energy. I don't care if I'm in a quiet space. Like I'm just like, my eyes are tired and heavy. If I do it after dinner or something like that, or after I just played a tennis match, like I had to play tonight, like, and I'm having a glass of wine because my shoulder's still hurting. I'm hoping this will help me to go to sleep, with a little pain free. And like, if I tried to go right after this conversation, like I could do it. I've done it before, but it's like, whew, man, that is talk about running uphill. It's like I got nothing left in the tank. Like, I mean, it has been exhausted. Like I've done it all already at that point in time in the day. And I'm like, my brain is not clear. Like the ideas are not there. The creativity is not there. My neurons are not firing, by the time that it is late at night. Right. And this is just something I've observed for myself over the years. And now I love writing in the morning. I always have, but I don't do it ever unless it's in the morning usually. I mean, I never miss a day, but like I never miss a morning really for the most part, now how does this fit into the fasting side of everything? Right. So as I was reading this book, it made me think about two books, Why We Sleep and also The Complete Guide to Fasting. And as to maybe why do I write so well in the morning? And well, obviously we know, from the book Why We Sleep, like there's so many different factors. You're rejuvenating your body, obviously. Like we don't need to go into the Why We Sleep side of everything, but like there's a lot of like insights from that book where it's like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, especially the whole sleep on it thing. Like your neurons are reprogramming and refiring, and you're like at your creativity peak, almost when you wake up and you're ready to like your brain is like primed to like to be creative at that stage. Second to that though is the fasting side of everything. This is what I had the big aha moment with this book. The human body was trained for through evolutionary purposes for forever. We are at this stage in human history so incredibly blessed to be able to go, I'm hungry, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'll go buy some food. There's a market down the street that I can go get whatever the fuck I want to go get and eat whatever the fuck I want to eat and at any time, right? But for I don't know when that started happening. Let's just say in the past 200 years, that access to food on demand, is a thing now, right? Like, but before that, we didn't know where our next meal was coming from. Like, that's not how our bodies were evolutionary and biologically put together. So this is what I learned in this book, right? Is, throughout human history, like we've always been based on feast and famine, cycles, right? You never knew when our next meal was coming from. So how does the body react to that? I always thought if you were hungry, you'd be a little bit more lethargic. You'd be, like when we get like hunger pains and stuff, and you feel like a little lightheaded or whatever, like, like that's how I've always gone. Like, well, if I'm hungry, then I can't be at my peak self. Well, like that's actually the complete opposite of what I now know to understand to be the truth is, when we are hungry, we are literally, our mind is crystal clear. Our focus is like laser focused in because we have to be at peak abilities to go and get our next meal. Like, I mean, and I was like, I learned this and I was like, holy shit. I was like, that makes so much sense. It's like, have you ever, eaten a big ass meal? Like I think about like Thanksgiving dinner and I'm like whenever I eat Thanksgiving dinner, like I can't do anything. Like, I mean, I am literally on the couch going, you almost need to like roll me out of there because I can't even move. My stomach is so full. I'm just so tired. People are like, oh, it's the turkey and the tryptophan and the turkey. It's like, no, it's not the fucking turkey.
You don't have to eat a turkey.
Yeah, I know.
Eat something else as long as it's dinner. I mean, it could be
Exactly.
Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, whatever.
Every dinner, every night. Like, I mean, it doesn't.
It's like, don't play with turkey.
Right. When we are full, our body goes, okay, chill out. We got what we need. Let me process this. You go get tired and sleepy, and let's sit around and just let me enjoy this nice meal that you just gave to me, right? And then your body processes it and they do what it does with it. But then eventually when it's like, okay, it's time to get another meal, like that's when you start to, that's when you hit that's intermittent fasting and whatever, and like alternate day fasting and these different fasting cycles. Once you hit a threshold, like your body actually your mind, your body, everything starts to like, from what I understand and from what I experienced, like I was like, holy shit, when I was doing these fasting things, and I would not eat, from like 5 p.m. until like, after I got done writing, and like at like 9 a.m. or something like that or whatever. Like when I was in that mode, and like I felt even more clear. Like because like I felt even more productive. I felt even more like just laser focused in, and like creative, and like neurons firing like fast, and that was a big aha for me, right? So that was where, this title comes from, of if you stay hungry, you literally will produce your best work. If you are literally hungry, like you will literally produce your best work, like, because that is how we are designed to be. Like we got to go get, whatever we need to go get from that point in time, and we're our everything tightens and gets more laser locked in. So I'll leave it there. The question is, when are you at your peak each day, and are you using that time for your most meaningful work? So for me, it's the mornings for sure. I mean, because I'm hungry and I'm well rested. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, based on your reflection title, I like to kind of tweak it a little bit, because to me, you're not hungry.
I know. Yeah, fair.
So there is
that's
a
fine.
feeling that you associate with, because, hey, this is what I'm eating or whatever.
Right.
That's a feeling of habit. Your body is tugging on you, hey, this is the time when you need to do this, or
Right.
whatever, right? You're not like, but from the nutrient and fuel perspective, you're not hungry. You just say, hey,
Right.
there's a habit, or you're bored. That's why most people who are bored, they eat a lot, because they're bored, right? They're not hungry. Basically, so for me, like, for me and for you, like, we're not like, I think we are within the range of the weight for the scale that was put together for us, right?
Right.
You and I can go from 30 days to 45 days without food, and we won't die. But there's a guy who has 400
Yeah.
pounds, right?
He
He
did
can go
370 days. I think it was 370 days. The world's
exactly.
longest fast. Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, you have that much reserve inside of your body to do.
Right.
And so to me, first thing is, I want to kind of like correct the wording is, so you're not hungry. It's just the habit that's triggered, because you used to do that on the same thing every single day, and your body gets used to it, and they tug at you at that time. Just like, let's say let's say you go to lunch, right? When lunchtime, your stomach starts to growl, right?
Yep.
But let's say you endure that for an hour or whatever, it stopped growling.
Right.
I mean, if you're hungry, it continue to growl, right?
Yeah.
But it stop growling. So the thing is, most people, when they fast for the first time, it's awful, because your body is keep tugging at you. Say, hey, you got to eat, you got to eat, you got to eat, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is, that is the hunger feeling. Like, I don't know what you want to call it now, but it's the hunger
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
feeling.
say.
Right?
What word do you want to call it? So I know what you're saying, and I it's a good call out.
But
I don't know how else to say when your body is well, I mean, is hungry. I don't know. That's the only word that I can think of that we know of, that it's like,
yeah. So the thing is, I think
primed,
people,
when your body's primed for food. I mean, I don't
no,
know.
you're not primed for food at that point, because
Okay,
they're not.
I don't know.
It's not even trying to absorb the most energy. It's not like all the nutrients is
Right.
wasted, right?
Well,
Because it didn't have
what's the
enough, and
word?
it's
What's the word? What do you want to say? If you say it, like, what I'm trying to say. Like, so, like, how do you want to tweak it?
it's a habitual addiction.
Well, but I'm talking about when you're in a fasted state, you are more focused. That is true.
So let me talk about the fastest state, right? To me, when you're in a fastest state, there's two benefits that you're getting. The first benefit is logically, right? Meaning that your brains, it's regulating the whole entire body.
Hmm?
Okay? So if your brain has
Good
a
point.
number of cells, a number of neurons, you say your neurons not firing. They are firing. It's just not firing for the thing that you want. It's firing for the things that keep you alive. Right? So your brain is busy.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Your brain is busy trying to say, okay, you basically stuff this fucking thing into your system. I gotta go figure out if I need to save you from this poison or not.
It's you're such a good point that you're saying this, because like after Thanksgiving dinner or whenever I eat a really big meal, I can feel all the blood rushing to my gut. Like you can feel it. Like I mean, like you can feel everything just like going, like it's not going to your brain. Like it is going,
No,
it is going all into here. Like
right? Because you're talking about foreign body going to your system.
right.
Your brain is saying, "Hey, I gotta keep this fucker alive because he's ingesting this thing. I don't know where it come from." And nowadays, all these food we have are processed and they've been injected
Right.
with like preservatives and antibiotics and GMO and all this shit, right? Your basically your body declared a state of emergency. And so how the fuck do you think when the neurons cannot fire for the thing you got? I'm gonna say, don't worry about the body, right? Let it die, whatever, right? It can't do that.
Right.
So
That's a really good point.
logically, your brain is bogged down,
Yes.
right? Your brain is bogged down. The second benefit is which is what you touched on before. It's evolution. Evolution because of the fast and because in our ancestors' day, right? You go hunt. It takes you about 3 days to 10 days to hunt one big animal.
Right.
You gotta stalk it. You got so there is this cycles of feast and famine, and mostly like there is a long period of not eating, and your body become adjusted to optimize what it gets. So it's trying to do that. That means that when you have the feed, right, your body isn't as alert because the cell say, hey, I don't have to be alert and trying to survive, right? So when you feast, your brain starts to your body. It doesn't have as much of a high alert and efficiency as it would have been. But when it starts to get to hey, we're getting too far away from getting our next meal. We need to be focused and vigilant and trying to catch something. Otherwise, we die. So that evolution actually activate the other type of cells that actually goes in and clean up the body. They do like any cells that's damaged, it's gonna either gonna recycle it or repair it, right? If you have the food, they're not gonna do anything. So there is some mechanism that activates inside your body to try to make yourself as most optimal prime performance in terms of cognitive functions and physical. Like not only that, you can probably run faster, you can probably run longer because you're fasted.
I got a good one for you for that one. So I read this book called The Founding Fish. It was about American shad, which are a fish that lives in the sea, but then they like salmon, they swim upstream and then to spawn, and they live in freshwater rivers and stuff like that. Well, they're mainly in like Virginia area and like the East Coast. But they talk a lot about salmon in this book too. Do you know that when salmon and shad go on their runs to go spawn, they stop eating. They stop eating before they do it, and they do it the entire time that they are swimming upstream. They don't eat because why do you think?
Because they can't stop to digest whatever.
They got to be at their athletic peak because they need to get the fuck to where they're going to protect their kids, and they don't have time. Like their body is at its peak, performance, and they're like, we got to go as fast as we can. That means we don't have time to eat, and we don't have time to process crap and whatever. Like we gotta be at our peak salmon.
You have to devote the resources to doing that one singular thing, because if you start to eat, you are bogged down your system. So that's what I'm saying logically, right? The first benefit you get is you are allowing your brain not to have to worry about the rest of the more vital function. The vital function is to keep you alive, right? So regardless of what you do, right? If you put something in your mouth, it's gonna have to check it. It can't say, okay, I'm gonna let Chris do his writing and I'm gonna check that thing later. No shit, no way. Because its job prime directive is to keep you alive. So it's not gonna say, well, I'm gonna be, hey, you have 100 neurons. You go ahead and spend 85 neurons over there and let Chris do his creative fucking thinking in the morning, right?
Right.
It's not, right? So that's why, because why are you productive in the morning? Is because
I'm
the
not
food has
processing
been
food. Yeah,
digested.
right.
You
Yeah, exactly.
digested
Like,
during the night.
yeah,
Now your brain is free
right. Yeah.
to allow the neuron to fire, to allow you to connect and think.
Not only are they free, they've rewired themselves overnight, and they're like fresh and ready to go. You know, like they're, if you got a good night's sleep, like, you know,
Right. It's cleaned
yeah,
up, it's
it's
collected,
clean.
it's
Yeah, it's clean. Yeah.
repair, it's damage, and whatnot. And so the benefits to fasting is huge, because you
It's
think
huge. Yeah.
about it. To think about it, if everything is tugging at you and you're allowed to, and you're asking to do, just imagine you have like 20 kids and anybody wants something, and then you also have to do work, right? Think about that situation as if you are the brain in the system, right? Because the thing is, your kids is going to say, "Hey, I lit something on fire." It's not like, "Oh, let me do a Zoom meeting. Let the kid burn down the house or stab each other with a knife or
Man,
whatever." Right? It's priority for you to say, "Hey,
yeah.
sorry, what business I'm doing on Zoom, I have to stop. I gotta go and put out the fires and take the knives away from the kids so they don't do this. They don't kill each other."
Man,
So imagine you are the brain inside the house. You are the mom. That your brain is the mom,
yeah.
right? That's what you're doing. And so
It's so funny you say that, because the time that I mean, I love being a parent, but like the time that I hate being a parent the most is at night after I've eaten a meal, and I ate dinner, and the kid wants to run around and do everything, and I'm like, I don't have any more energy to give to you. I just want to sit here and do nothing, because I am tired, man. I cannot, like, you have to be, as a parent, you have to be at peak, like alertness all the time. And I'm like, I don't have any more alertness in me. Like, I am exhausted. Like, I have eaten multiple meals today. I just got done eating. Like, my brain is fried from everything else that's going on. And I'm like, I don't have any more laser alertness to be like on you like a hawk, while you're doing stupid dipshit things, that kids are doing, right? Like, that is that is probably my hardest time of the day to be a parent, because I'm like, I don't know what else to do, because I'm like, I can't keep my focus anymore. Like, my focus is gone. Like, I mean, it is eviscerated, and like, and kids never stop. Like, so it's a catch-22. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to write in the morning, but I can't say, well, I'm going to be a parent in the morning, but I'm not going to be a parent at night. Like, I mean, you still got to be a parent even when you're fucking tired and you ate all
right.
your processing your dinner.
I mean, just like I said, if I can't convince you from the logical perspective, which is like I said, if you're bogged down by different things that's more important, there's just no way you have the resources to devote to doing whatever that you do. You can't focus because you don't have any more bandwidth in your brain to
Nothing
focus.
left to give.
So
Right.
Right. And so like I said, anything that you, and especially when you eat junk food, right? When you eat junk food, meaning the food that is according to your body, is questionable. It's going to bog you down the most, because it's going to have to check everything. Just imagine you drink alcohol, right? Whatever you do, the alcohol is going to get processed. I'm not imagining first.
I'm drinking that glass of wine.
Your body is going to have to process that first.
Right.
Because I mean, even if you eat something before it and you drink alcohol in after, it's going to process alcohol first. Right. Because alcohol to the body isn't something you're supposed to take. It's foreign. And
I don't know that that's not true. I mean,
well, there's no evidence it's true either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my obviously not supposed to over consume alcohol, but like, there's some good benefits to like just chilling the fuck out and being anti-stressed. You know what I mean? Like, or
no, I disagree. This is the reason why I stopped drinking caffeine, because caffeine, based on scientific
that's
study,
provoking. Yeah.
No, caffeine to me, most people drink coffee and drink caffeine, and it gives them a boost. Scientifically, it gives them evidence of boost.
But based on what alcohol doesn't give you a boost. Alcohol.
No, I'm talking about caffeine.
Boost. Yeah.
I'm giving caffeine as an example, right? Caffeine is something that scientifically is proven to give you this boost. But the boost is, to me, based on how I understand it. So, for example, let's say you have something that's on sale, right? Let's say, hey, something's on sale for 50% off. The reason why it's on sale for 50% off and you boost it, like whatever you get, it's like, imagine you go and you raise the price, then you reduce it to 50% off. So as far as the caffeine is concerned, right? The caffeine is a catch 22 because it actually slows your system down and then boosts it up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're not optimal if you have caffeine in you because it it's interrupting the
Oh
neuron
yeah.
process, right?
I know. I agree. I'm not saying
So
alcohol and
so
caffeine
you
are
think
yeah.
so I'm taking caffeine as an example for alcohol. So
Right.
alcohol is something that you say, well, it's gonna relax you. But I want to tell you another thing that is inside of the book while we sleep.
Yeah, I know. It fucks your
So
sleep up really bad. I mean, I do
so the
know
thing
that.
is sleeping from alcohol and sleeping from
It fucks it
drugs
up. Yeah.
is not the same thing as sleeping.
I
Because
I
thing
agree.
is
I
when
know that.
you
Yeah.
when you are not conscious, so
Right.
when you drink alcohol, right, and when you take drugs to go to sleep, right, your body, you say basically to me you're just unconscious, you're not sleeping. Sleeping
Right.
is a process where your brain has the time and the capacity to go and repair itself and to organize and store the things in a proper place.
Right.
If you drink alcohol, right, you unconscious, but when you're unconscious, your body isn't doing the repair. It's actually going trying to protect you from the alcohol poisoning.
No, I know you're 100% right. I mean, I know that obviously. Like I usually never drink on the weekdays ever because of that. Because I
So
feel
to me, I
less
mean,
clear in the mornings,
the
or
point
whatever.
is, people don't understand because it's so complex in terms of what it does. Because the thing is, if I take a pill, let's say my doctor give me a sleeping pill, that means I have to 8 hours sleep, right? That is fake. It's not real because
Right.
you're not doing you any good. So to me, don't try to go and take a pill or do whatever because I think a lot of people are on this trend now. Is that I took this pill, I go to sleep, and based
No.
on scientific study, if you sleep, okay, that's not the same thing,
Right.
right? You're not. That means you have to try to go back and say, well, how can I sleep naturally? That's the only way to get the benefit of sleep. And
Yeah.
so the thing is, a lot of people kind of understand some of the benefit, but they don't really understand how it works, and they basically you know get get in the wrong path of trying to achieve the benefits.
Mhm.
And so you're talking about like the alcohol, the caffeine. Yes, scientifically you can say, hey, the caffeine it helps these people give a boost, but because people are already like down from their optimal, and you boost them up because it's already down. But a person who is at peak, you put caffeine to it, it doesn't do shit. It's just gonna lower it.
Yeah. No.
Only if you get to the point where you are so
You don't even sell me
down,
on
right?
it. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I stopped drinking caffeine because for me, I told you that I drink caffeine since I was like 7 years old, and
Right.
I drink it until I was like, I guess 41. Right. That's how
Right.
long I've been drinking it. And for me to quit caffeine, it's a big deal. And not only that, I drink coffee, right? Like really strong coffee. I drink 5 hour energy, no problem. I drink Red Bull 5 hour, whatever, all that. Nothing doesn't do anything to me. I become so like like I don't know, adjusted or tolerant of it now.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is my parents, my dad, my his dad, and his dad, his dad. There's generations of people that that I came from that drink coffee. So my gene has the need for coffee.
Right.
And so for me to quit, it's a big deal. But because of the understanding of what I saw, because the thing is, if your body at peak, caffeine coffee does not boost you a single bit. The reason why
I agree. Actually,
it
it makes me
shows
feel worse.
evidence,
Honestly,
it
it
shows
makes me
the
feel.
evidence of improvement is only because you crash down to like 20-30% from your peak, and then you put caffeine in and it have that little boost. It's like a band-aid, right?
Yeah.
And you say,
You're,
yeah, look
you're
like
right.
it goes from 20 to 30. Well, it's a boost. So I'm gonna drink coffee wherever and whenever, right? So they took it the wrong way. It's not the whole story.
You're spot on. I agree with you. And it's actually funny you mentioned Red Bull. This has been something I've recently discovered. So last month I did my monthly challenge of no caffeine again. So I've been pretty good about it. I'm still going strong like this month, with it. So it's I kept going with it. So clearly I like how I feel when I don't drink caffeine. And I'll probably continue on with that trajectory. But the like 2 Sundays ago, I can't remember what we were doing, but like it was just like a really long day, like a really, really long day. And I was like running out of gas. And I was like, man, like I don't want to cut it. My wife went to a coffee shop or something like that. It was like at a like in the middle of the day or whatever, and we were going somewhere with our child, and she wanted to stop at some coffee place. She's like, "Do you want something?" I was like, no, I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Like it's fine, you know. And as I was driving us to wherever we were going, I was like, man, I'm really fucking just struggling today. I don't know why. I just had no energy for some reason. So I stopped at a gas station because I had to go pee anyway, and I ran into the gas station, and I walked by the Red Bull aisle, and I was like, God, it's been so long since I've had a Red Bull. And I was like, I used to love drinking Red Bull. I actually like the taste of Red Bull. And I can't remember the last time I had a Red Bull. It's been like it's probably been years, like probably been a year since I've had a Red Bull. I walked by this thing, and I was like, you know what? I've been good, no caffeine. I was like, I'm dragging ass right now. I was like, I kind of just want a Red Bull, you know. And I drank this thing, and I remembered every time that I've ever drank Red Bull, I always feel really good afterwards. Not from the caffeine; it's something else. Like it's a different feeling. I don't feel this way when I drink a cup of coffee. Like there's something about Red Bull in particular that makes me feel really, really like just my body. Everything in my body feels like it's better when I drink a Red Bull, and I've always wondered what it was. So I thought for the longest time, because I've had this experience before in the past, I thought for the longest time it was the B12 in it. So I remember years ago I got like the vitamin B complex little supplemental pills because I was
Mm-hmm.
like maybe that's it, you know, or something like that. And whenever I do take them, I do feel a little bit of a boost, but I don't know, it's not the same as I feel when I'm drinking a Red Bull. So my brain started thinking after I was drinking this Red Bull, and I was like, why does this always make me feels like my nose opens up? It feels like I can breathe better. It feels like everything's just like a little bit cleaner. Like everything just feels better in my body whenever I drink a Red Bull for some reason. But then I crash like 2 hours later or 3 hours later. It's like you get that drop, that serious drop. There's so
Right,
much
because you,
sugar in it,
you you
whatever.
think about you think about like, hey, like let's say hey, I told you, hey Chris, you know, you want $1 million, right? Your
Right.
body perks up. So basically, there is a decoy
Well,
inside
hang on,
of.
hang on. There's more to this. There's more to this. All right. So there's not a decoy. This isn't about caffeine in Red Bull. It's not about caffeine. It's a So I started researching more and more about like what, because it intrigues me because I mean I'm not saying this right. I don't feel the same as I normally feel. Like I feel like not sluggish, you know, when I for some weird reason, whenever
Right.
there's something in Red Bull that I was like, this is interesting. So I started reading the ingredients a little bit more, and I've always seen it has taurine in it. So I was like, what the fuck is taurine? And I looked it up, and it was like some amino acid or whatever that's like that gives you like a boost for physical, you know, activity. It's like a pre-workout a lot of people take is when they take like a taurine supplement. It's an amino acid. And then then I found this other amino acid that's called BAC or something like that. Anyway, long story short, the past week and a half or 2 weeks now, I guess, since I drank this Red Bull, I bought this supplement called from this thing called Life Extension or whatever for taurine, and then I bought this other essential amino acid called BAC, and then I have my B12, you know, thing. So I've been basically taking Red Bull every single day, without Red Bull and without caffeine or sugar. Like I've just been taking it in a supplement form of this BAC, this taurine, and this B12, and I've been feeling fucking great. Like I mean, it feels really good. Like my nose feels so much clearer. I feel like when I go work out or whatever in the mornings, I feel better. I don't know what it is, man, but it's like I think there's something to this, like the taurine stuff in particular. Like I mean, I don't know why it does. I've researched it, but like anyway, it's
Well,
interesting. Yeah.
I think that's it. I mean, I think I agree. It's important to understand why, right? And
Mhm.
why. I mean, if you don't understand why, it's very hard and it's very easy to get like, you know, kind of sidetracked into thinking something that isn't. It isn't, because sometimes like if you trick the body, hack the body into thinking that it needs to be heightened, right? You're gonna feel that the boost because you say, hey, you know, because it's a fight or flight. Let's say you spike your adrenaline, for example. If for whatever reason you can take something and you spike the adrenaline, you're gonna, I mean, your body is gonna shut down the other function to go and trying to focus on this thing. And so you feel like, hey, I can't do anything. But the thing is, eventually, it's going to mess up its system, right? Because the system, because eventually it said, well, this is not a threat, so you cannot continue to elevate your adrenaline anymore, because
Right.
it get like I told you, like I was able to drink like
Normalized to it.
5 hour energy in 2 hours or in 1 hour, like two of them in 1 hour. It's like, right? So you think about it, your body gets to the point where it's like, well, this guy is fooling me, so I'm not. So let's take antibiotics, for example. Let's say you took antibiotics, right? Right? Your body is used to that level. Next level, it has to be more for it to even pay attention to you.
Right.
So it's not always a good thing. So only natural system would be the best thing. That's what I'm saying is, yes, caffeine does have its uses in a certain cases, but if your body is already at peak, it doesn't do any good. So same thing with many of these things where you're talking about taurine and this and that, right? So it does give you a boost, but I fear that because it mimics some kind of a
taurine you get from eating food. Like, I mean, you get like taurine, like,
yeah,
and your body produces it naturally too. So it's not like
but the thing is, that's a point. The point is your body is supposed to produce it.
Right.
But you're not. You're taking it. Your body stop producing it. So eventually, it's not gonna know how to produce it anymore.
Well, that's. I hope that's not the case. Like, I don't. Is that how?
No, logically, what do you think it's gonna do?
Well, I mean, you get it from food, like from what I understand. Right.
But because you are training your body to be able to produce it, it knows how to produce it. It has the cell to produce it. Eventually, you have it all over. It's gonna. So why am I growing food? Let's say I'm a fucking farmer, right? Why do I go farm and plant anything if I can go to the grocery store and get it for free?
That's a good question. So are you saying taking a supplement form of taurine and like this PA, it's NAC is what it's called, NAC?
So to me, anything you do, right, to your body, it's an intervention. It can only be temporary.
Acetylcysteine is what the other one was. NAC and taurine.
Right. That's what I'm saying is, if your body, I mean, sometimes you can't help it because it's just the way that your body works and it just lacks it, and you need to get it. Like, for example, we need to eat meat because we are certain things that we can't produce ourselves. So we have to eat them because your body don't produce them. But if your body produces them and you don't allow your body to produce them, eventually it'll stop producing them. So you're gonna have to go continue to take it, because it cannot. And when you take it, how do you give it the right amount that it needs? How would you know?
I have no idea.
So you basically destabilize the system.
My supplement pills. I had this epiphany today. When I was listening to my Darren Daily in the morning, and it was something about, like, simplify, whatever, less is more. And I kind of like looked over at my little pill assortments that I take in the morning of like supplements and stuff like that. There's like 7 of them now. I have a elderberry sambucus. I have my B vitamin complex stuff. Now I have this NAC, the taurine, just my daily multivitamin, and then I have like a vitamin C tablet or something like that. And I'm like, I looked over, I'm like, that's probably a little too much. Like, I was listening to this thing, and I had this thought. I was like, man, this feels like I'm taking a lot of pills. And fish oil. I take fish oil too in the morning too.
Right. So to me, this is how I see it. Like, every system has to be primed, right? Right. The only time where you need these vitamins and these things is to prime your system, but not to continue to feed it. You only need it once to start the engine, and once the engine starts, it's supposed to create it. It's never supposed to be long term. If you use long term, it's actually going to destabilize your system.
Damn it! So are you telling me I can't keep taking taurine every day?
You cannot. You can. You know how the heart, right? When they go and they pump the heart, right? Right. They're not gonna pump the heart for you forever. Right? Imagine that
What if my body isn't making taurine well? I mean, what if that's
well, the thing
that's
is there are certain things that if your body cannot make the taurine from the get go, then yes, you're gonna have to take them. That's why we eat a
how
certain thing.
how would I even know that? I mean, like how
You told me that your body produces taurine. Now you told me that it doesn't.
no, I'm saying how would I know if my body? I'm saying our bodies do, but I could maybe
For example,
maybe my body doesn't. I don't know.
we cannot produce vitamin C. You know that, right?
Right, correct.
That's why we get scurvy. That's why we
Yeah,
have to eat meat
yeah,
or eat citrus or whatever.
yeah.
Otherwise, they get scurvy. So that's something that our body has ceased to produce. So because of that, we have to eat a variety of different things to get enough vitamin C, whatever. But if you're already producing the taurine and you say, I'm going to give it taurine, eventually it'll stop producing taurine and you're going to have to continue to take taurine or find things that produces taurine and you have to ingest it that way. Yes, there are many things that our body can't produce because it doesn't need to
Damn
produce.
it,
Because
True. You're really ruining my my taurine, because I was really excited about this whole taurine purchase the other day. Because I was like, man, I wonder if this is taurine. You know, every time I drink a Red Bull, and every time I take it, I do feel way better. Like, I mean, so
I mean,
maybe,
it's the same thing for me. Is when I drink coffee, I'm like book awake, right? But that's
right,
the thing is,
son of a bitch, you little asshole. Gosh, I thought I was onto something here. You know, with these amino acids. So, but they're, I don't know.
but the thing is, I'm asking you, does your body produce taurine?
Yeah, I mean, it says it does. I mean, yeah.
Then that means that if your body
I don't know
produces
that
it
my
and you
body
get
does. I mean, it says that it says that. Well, I mean, seriously, I mean, I don't know. Every human
the
body is
point I'm
different.
trying to make is you have to understand how it works for you to really use it to its maximum benefits. Otherwise, you're gonna wreck your system because there are things that you don't know, right?
Hmm.
And before, for example, a lot of people who are on a vegetarian, like a vegan diet, right?
Right.
They need to take vitamins because
Oh
they
yeah.
don't have enough. And people who don't have the vitamins, they get into depression, easily get into depression because they lack the building blocks. Like, let's say you ask me to go and build you a house, but you say, hey, I want a brick house, but I won't give you any bricks. So how the fuck do I'm gonna build you a brick house? So the thing is, your body needs the building blocks, whatever it needs to build that whatever it is, like it has to have the nutrient, the building block to do it. And if it's lacking it, there's just no way you can do it.
You're
But the thing is, when you look, because like I told you about the caffeine, right? You go and look, search for, should I take caffeine? Is it the benefit of caffeine? You get all sorts of articles that tell you to drink coffee.
right. Yeah, no,
So
you're right.
so the thing is, if you say, hey, I've searched on caffeine and it tells me it's good, I should drink it, and then I search on taurine and it says it's good, I should drink it, right? And so, right?
No,
I
I
mean,
mean, like it's like literally like it says right here, like it helps with the brain, the retina, nearly every muscle. Like whenever I drink it, like Red Bull, like
how?
my
How?
eyes
I
feel
understand what they say,
clear.
but
Yeah.
how? Does it make
Uh,
sense, right? Ask it how, and does it make sense? Because the thing is, without the how there's no I guess conviction for you to continue down that path.
through biosynthesis and industrial processes involving the sequence of chemical. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, so you still need to obtain it from supplements and sort of dietary, maintain optimal levels.
But
Interesting.
like I'm telling you, your body, the way the body works is that if you use it, it gets better. If you don't
Right.
use it, it stops. It doesn't need to waste its resources on producing the cells or the factory that produces the thing that you need.
Oh no, you made a really good point. I mean, and you got me thinking. Like, so I don't know. Anyway, you did your job. You made me think. And I'm now I'm gonna go explore. Now my curiosity is piqued, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna keep exploring. So that's the fun part about all this stuff. But anyway, back on topic. We're on fasting. I think they were kind of beating a dead horse here, but like I think for my final thoughts on this one is like, I never knew how much, like we talked about yesterday, how much I've
Bog down your system.
yeah, like by eating. I mean, like it makes so much sense to me now when I think of like you remember when I told you that I was, obviously that I've been doing like the Wim Hof stuff for now for probably a year and a half now, I guess. And I really like it. When I was doing that in a fasted state in the mornings, like I got over 4 minutes one time of my breath hold when I was in a fasted state. And I remember texting you, and I was like, holy shit. Because my body, whenever I'm doing this, after I've eaten a meal, even within 4 hours or something like that of it, like I can feel the blood from my heart when I hyperventilate or whatever, and then start pumping. I can feel it going into my stomach. Like versus going through my whole body. Like, and whenever I'm in a fasted state, like I don't feel anything in my stomach. Like, yeah, I mean,
there's nothing there for it to pay attention to. So the oxygen that goes to your brain, it gets carried there, so you can hold your breath longer. Because if only half of your blood goes to your brain to give you the oxygen for the brain to function, right, and the other half goes to your stomach trying to go through this metal detector to say, hey, do you have any weapon? Do you have any weapon? Yeah. Right? I mean, so how can you exchange any kind of oxygen in that fashion? So to me, it makes sense.
It's massive difference. I mean, I'm not even talking about like little bit difference. I'm talking about when I look at my own scores on the Wim Hof thing or whatever, like it was like 30% higher on average every day that I did this in a fasted state than when I do it in a non-fasted state. Like, I mean, it was big, like differences. Like I wasn't doing anything differently. It was just in a fasted state versus not a non-fasted state. And that was eye-opening for me with this. And second, my final point of my experience with the intermittent fasting in general, God, it fucks with my sleep for the first like week, like because I feel like I gotta piss all night long because I don't know how to stop drinking water, even when I'm not drinking anything with like sugar in it. Like it's like I still feel like I want to put something in my face.
It doesn't matter if you drink or don't drink anything. When you fast for the first time, your body is going to throw a tantrum.
It was so mad at me for like the first like 3 or 4 days. Like I slept at nothing. Like, I mean, it was to the point in time where I was like, man, I feel awful every morning because I was like, I didn't sleep at all last night. My body was just tossing and turning and like pissed off of me, and like I had to get up and go take a piss like 7 times. I feel like in the middle of the night.
You are switching out. It's the switch. It's the change of the guard, right? So you're switching out. Your body is going to throw a tantrum. Say, hey, this is eating time. What are you eating? Are you stupid? Or you're crazy? So your body is going to tug at you for the first time, right? But after you get through it, right, it isn't. Like for me, it's so what I do nowadays is, I do what you call OMAD, right? 1 meal a day, right? I don't eat 1 meal a day, right? And to me, that's normal. It's like I can't.
Your body's normalized.
I can't even eat 2 meals a day anymore, right? I can't because it's normal. And then you know how the first time I did it, because I was diabetic, so I need the extremity. So I did a 72-hour fast, actually 96-hour fast, right? The first day, right? The first 3 days, it's completely like I can't sleep. It keep like, hey, you gotta eat, right? And thing is, now if I want to go 24 hours, 40 hours, it's like no big deal, right? Because but I told you before, at first I had to trick it, because what I did is I go and I eat 1 meal a day, but I only eat like around 6 p.m. or so. So that means by the time I sleep at 9 p.m. or whatever, right? My body lets me sleep because it's not like tugging on me, full, right? Yeah. But once I go to sleep, it doesn't. I mean, I don't feel the tugging anymore. So it let me sleep through the night. But eventually, the body knows, hey, this is normal. This guy is not this crazy nut job or
Right,
whatever,
right.
it'll stop. So now, like now, I can do a 2 days, a whole like 40 hours, 72 hours, like easy. I can do like probably once a week if I wanted to.
Right.
Because now I don't do like I eat once a day, right? Once a day, and to me that's normal. To me, having 2 meals a day is too much. Having 3 meals a day is too much, right? And
Right.
so that to me is the beginning when you have to change up the guard. Yes, it's going to feel like this is abnormal, but this is why people can't get past the first initial stage. Say, hey,
Yeah.
this isn't feel right,
It
right?
feels awful. Like if you're that's what they said in this book too. I've never gone more than, I think the longest fast that I did in any of the months I've done my challenges was probably like 18 hours maybe, so
Mhm.
I was really doing like intermittent
I mean,
fasting the whole time.
Snow's doing like 72 hours, like three
Is he
days,
really?
like on a regular basis.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Uh but what they said in this book, that mirrors exactly what you just said. It's like they said if you're gonna do an extended fast, the first 3 days are awful, but once you get past that, it's like you can go. You might as well just go a week, because it's like once you get past like the first like 72 hours, they're like your body kind of just adjusts at that point in time, and then you're like,
Right,
don't
because it's all
just keep
about
going.
equilibrium, right? Because
Right.
I'll tell you one more thing, like so not only that I start the fasting, I start changing my diet as well, and so I started doing the meat only diet. Like I don't eat only meat, right? Because meat requires a lot of acid to digest because a lot of fat, right? You need more
Mhm.
HCl in your body. Your body, your stomach needs to be much more acidic to digest. So there is a transition period where your body is going to say, well, I don't have enough acid to burn, like to burn all these things at this rate. So there is a transition period as well. So you have to let your body start to adjust and equilibrium balance out the thing. So in the beginning, what happened is I start to get what basically I get these like hives on my body
Wow.
because it goes through the skin because it's trying to, but after the first once it goes through, right, it just stopped because
Interesting.
it gets to the point where it have enough acid that my stomach is very acidic now versus before because I don't eat as much of the meat, right? As much
Right.
of the fat. So it doesn't need it. I can tell you, your body, if you wanted to keep producing stuff, you have to give it the chance to produce. If you eat things that doesn't need acidic, your body become less acidic, become more alkaline, right?
Interesting.
And so, for example, for me, like because my stomach is more acidic than most people now, most of the bacteria and whatever goes to my gut is gonna get killed quickly. It's
Right.
it's it's very hard for it to stay in my stomach,
Right.
right? So there's always good and bad, but I'm saying it's the change of the guard. I mean, there is a change in your body. You're gonna feel different because your body's gonna react to it. So
Right.
initially, most people when they fast, the first 3 days, beyond the other thing that you do, because I switched my diet for a year, 2 years now, almost 2 years now. Um, so for me it's a long and permanent change, right? And so that change, like I think I started developing high probably about 2 months in, right? so
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
that so that that's the thing. But the people who start to do the intermittent fast or whatever, they going to get these. I mean, it's a feeling of discomfort, but it's not really anything
No,
bad,
yeah, no. It
it's
took
just
a few days.
discomfort. It's
It's
just
just discomfort.
discomfort, right?
I think, like I said, the worst thing for me was my sleep for the first couple of days, where I was
Yeah,
like,
it's ruined
I
your sleep if you
it
fast.
did. It really did ruin my sleep because I was going to bed hungry, which I'm not used to. I'm used to
Mhm.
eating until 9 o'clock or whatever, and then that for whatever reason that retains the water that I drink or something like that. It keeps my stomach, whatever. Like for whatever reason, like I had to pee like all night long. Like I mean, and it was driving me nuts. Like because I just felt like I had to wake up every 5 seconds and be like, oh my god, I
Well,
got to
the
pee.
the thing
Like
is, most people, when people eat, they eat a lot of fibers. So when you drink, it absorbs like a sponge. It stays in your body.
right,
Okay. When you fast and you drink water, it doesn't go anywhere. It goes through.
It just goes straight through. Yeah, no,
So
that's
it
exactly
doesn't
what was happening.
stay. I mean, you don't
Right.
have the sponge in your stomach. It stays, right? That's why to me, like, if you want to lose weight, like naturally and be most effective, all you have to do is do a 24 hour
Stop eating.
fast
Yeah. Right.
or 40-hour fast. You lose 5 pounds in like 2 days.
I
You lose
believe
like
it. Yeah.
10 pounds in like 10 days because 3 pounds is already from the water that you carry
Right.
from because it takes about 3 days for your fibers, right? For most people, right? For most people, like that, let's say I eat meat or I eat things that's not fibrous, right? It goes through within like 24 hours or less.
Right.
If you eat fibers, it stays in there for 3 days. That's why most people get bloated because of the fiber, and the fiber soak off all the water. So the water you drink, it stays, and that's if you want to lose like 3 pounds easy, 24-hour fast, you lose 3 pounds.
Right. No,
Like,
I totally believe you. Actually, that was one of the reasons why I stopped doing intermittent fasting and I didn't keep going with my own challenges was because I actually felt like I was losing weight and I was like, I don't want to lose weight. Like I was like,
but the thing is,
yeah.
that's the thing is so for me, it's like you're not gonna lose more weight than you're supposed to have because the weight that you lose isn't supposed to be your weight, right? It's just
No,
excess thing that.
I know. I'm not saying I felt bad about it. I'm saying it was kind of scary because I'm like, I'm
But
not a big
it goes
guy,
like
you
this.
know.
It starts to drop and then it plateaus out. It doesn't.
It
It
does.
doesn't force
My
me.
pants started fitting differently, and I was like,
Right, right.
and
But the thing is,
I was like, what am I
as
doing? I'm not
a
trying to lose
natural
weight. Like,
person,
yeah,
there is a floor that you get to. You would never ever go under it. I
no,
guarantee you.
I
I've
I
done
know,
this for more than a
no,
year.
I know. I'm like for me personally, like that wasn't
People
why
think that,
I was
hey,
doing
if I
intermittent fasting.
lose 3 pounds in a day, I lose 5 pounds, I lose like 15 pounds in a month, right? Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be like stick figure by 3 months. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen like that. It doesn't work like that.
No, I know. I know this. I'm saying like for me, like I saw the benefits of it, and I
All
would
you have to
rather
do is gain more muscles.
I would I would rather do intermittent fasting, meaning like I don't want to do it every day. I might do it like twice a week or something like that, you know, or
Well, the
something.
thing is, so the thing is, I don't know if it talks in that book, but there is certain benefits to the length of time you fast.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Do
Okay,
like one 24 hour fast or something.
if you
Yeah,
do
a week.
a anything after 12 hours, that means your body has finished everything. It starts to
Right,
be more focused on the thing you do, it gives you more attention and all that. But after like 18 hours, your body starts to repair itself. Any damaged cells you can get recycled.
right,
So and then after that, your it starts to produce this growth hormone, right? That means that it's actually going to create a dish, like it's going to advance your body. Your body is actually growing after 18 hours, 18 hours, 36 hours, right?
right.
So the thing is that there are certain, I guess, stages where your body starts to activate different type of benefits of things it needs to do to like for example, when you get to the point where it's like 72 hours, you start to burn fat. You can so
Yeah, yeah,
your metabolism is not burning carbs anymore. It's burning
right,
fat now. So
right,
you're gonna start losing the fat where it needs to be, mostly from the face, and then the part where it gonna be most visible, right?
right,
And so the thing is, it has to get to a certain threshold before it switch on a certain function of the system.
right. No, that's it's all fascinating because I fully 100% um understand so much more about this now, and from you and from this book and all that good stuff, and it's what this journey's about, is learning, right? Like
Mhm.
and add more to your arsenal to try to be the best person you want to be. So I all right, I gotta cut it off though, because I gotta go to bed. My wife just called me, she's out of town, so like I just want to say goodnight to her. So but yeah, no, I mean, this is all, it's all very fascinating stuff. And thanks for sharing, Drew, because we would have been talking about this if you hadn't told me about this, because honestly, I thought intermittent fasting before this whole journey was just another one of those douchebag things that people are like, I do intermittent fasting. I've had people like be like, oh, I'm not eating this morning because I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I'm like, I don't fucking care, man. Like,
Who give a shit? Who give a shit? Like for me, it's my my normal day is to eat once a day, so I don't
right.
know what you call that.
Well, no, like it's like it's this tech bro culture,
But the
where
thing
it's
is,
like,
I don't
you
go
know,
out there. I don't go out there and say, I'm OMAD. I'm
right.
OMAD. It's like,
Exactly.
who
No,
fucking care? Like, the only
that's
reason why
exactly
I'm talking about it because you want to know, you want to ask, right? And I want to explore. But I don't go out there and say, hey, I'm OMAD. Yeah, I'm fasting. It's like, what
right.
the, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it you're doing it for the fact that you get to tell people.
Exactly. Like that's what I was getting at. It's like, so for me, I was always really apprehensive of like, oh, it's just another stupid fucking thing that like we're microdosing, we're intermittent fasting, we're ice bathing every single day. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I mean, like, like it's a I'm tired.
What we call it? In, inconspicuously conspicuous.
Oh yeah, it's inconspicuous conspicuous consumption, or
Yes.
conspicuous inconspicuous consumption. All right. It's time to cut it off though. So thanks for joining, everybody. And the question we can leave with you is, when are you at your peak each day, and how are you using that time to for your most meaningful work? So something to think about. It's an interesting conversation about fasting, and if you learn something from this, like reach out to True because he knows way more than I do. But yeah, I think this is pretty interesting stuff. So thanks for joining. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well,
Awesome.
we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tonight, tomorrow night.
All right.